Hi everyone, welcome back to the Longevity Lab. I'm Tanya Malik. I'm a biohacker, functional nutritionist, and the founder of the Biohackers company and the Longevity Lab. In these videos, I share deep longevity science and actionable biohacks for age reversal. Today's video is a 30-day challenge for gut health, where I'm going to share a step-by-step process of what I do to heal my gut and my client's gut in 30 days. So let's dive in. What if I told you there's just one root cause to all of your problems? Everything from bloating, acidity, constipation, diarrhea, extreme fatigue, trouble sleeping, brain fog or difficulty focusing, your skin breakouts, acne, even your inflammation. All of this has one root cause, which is your gut health. Now, what I'm going to share with you is a tried and trusted method. I've not just tested it on myself, but on many others. And trust me, in just 30 days, energy skyrocket, your brain fog clears out, your digestion becomes much better, and your skin becomes clearer. You get that glass skin that everybody is talking about. Now I'm going to share a step-by-step process of how you can do this at your home. And by the way, at the end of this episode, I'm also going to share a list of gut-healthy foods, but most importantly, a secret recipe of my go-to gut health drink. Alright, before getting started, let's talk about the gut health connection with longevity and age reversal. Did you know that your gut microbiome is at the center of how well you age? Now, what does microbiome have to do with aging? See, microbiome or imbalances in your gut microbiome are directly linked to chronic inflammation or systematic inflammation. And you've probably heard me say this before, that inflammation is one of the biggest factors of accelerated aging. Yes, of course, it causes a lot of lifestyle diseases, everything from diabetes to cancer, but it is also a cause for accelerated aging. And your gut microbiome creates something known as short-chain fatty acids or SCFA, which is obviously great for your health in many, many ways, but one of those ways is that it's anti-inflammatory. That means it actually reduces and heals this inflammation. Also, when your gut microbiome is imbalanced, it leads to or contributes to leaky gut. I've explained this before. Leaky gut is when your gut wall becomes, the permeability increases, or it becomes sort of loose. And now toxins can release into your bloodstream, which obviously leads to a lot of issues, including inflammation, but it also leads to oxidative stress. And we already know that oxidative stress really accelerates aging. Another thing you probably know, or I would have said this before, that almost 70 to 80% of your immunity lies in your gut health. And we obviously can't forget the gut-brain axis. Your microbiome plays a huge role in not just your mood swings, your stress, the way you feel and you sleep, but also your brain health or your cognitive health. And let's talk about the common symptoms of when your gut is out of balance, or if there is something that needs to be corrected or healed in your gut. Right? Things you probably know about are constantly feeling bloated, birching or burping, flatulence, it could be diarrhea, it could also be constipation, consistent acidity or acid reflux, even extreme fatigue, difficulty sleeping, brain fog, and skin breakouts, even inflammatory skin conditions like psoriasis or eczema. All of these are great signs of gut health issues or imbalances with your gut microbiome. Alright, now that we understand this, the connection between gut health and aging or longevity, let's begin with the 30-day gut health reset plan. Alright, so week 1, which is the step 1, is remove and reset. Now here, the first step is to eradicate any of the common triggers or allergens which could disrupt or cause havoc with your gut microbiome. Now this starts with seed oils, refined oils, processed foods, which means that your cooking oil also needs to change, right? So removing or eradicating seed oils and refined oils and cooking with coconut oil, cold pressed coconut oil or ghee. Typically, when I'm working with somebody to heal their gut health, I use what we commonly know as the elimination diet, right, where we're eliminating all of these triggers. This is a shorter version of this particular diet. Now, I've spoken about this before, but seed oils and refined oils are high in omega-6, which are extremely pro-inflammation. Eradicating this becomes your first step, which also means that eating from outside becomes difficult because that's the oil that they use. So you're going to actually have to end up cooking at home more, or at least be careful and tell the restaurant that you're eating from to use only cold pressed coconut oil or ghee. Second, eradicating any of the common allergens, which is dairy and gluten. Dairy and gluten are the most common allergens even for the Indian population. Even if you are not intolerant or sensitive, for this short period of time, you're just doing a 30-day reset, eradicating it will give your gut a break from these common allergens, which are also difficult to digest in general, allowing it to heal itself. And we'll talk about reintroduction as we move forward, but right now this is a remove and reset phase, right? So you eradicate this. The other thing that you eradicate is refined sugars and artificial sweeteners. Just like sugar, even artificial sweeteners actually kill the good bacteria in your gut microbiome. Now, in this phase, a very important actionable step to start or to add is to start keeping a gut journal. That means every single time you have any kind of a gut related symptom, that means you feel acidity or bloating or constipation or diarrhea or anything to do with your gut, you note it down. You also note down exactly what you ate in that day before you felt this way. This is your step 1, which we do for the first week. Now this brings us to our week 2, where we work on repair and heal. Now here in week 1, we've already removed all of the triggers. So in week 2, we start working on repairing and healing the gut lining. So you continue to do everything you were doing in week 1, but to start working on the repair and the healing, we add a couple of things. Number 1, we increase our fiber intake. Now this needs to come obviously from natural food. So number 1, increasing your vegetables and obviously fruit. But more importantly, adding supplementation, natural food sourced supplementation for both soluble and insoluble fiber is a great step. My favorite, which I strongly recommend, is chia seeds and psyllium husk, which is the old school original is isabgol. Keep in mind, if you have SIBO, or small intestine bacterial overgrowth, which is the feeling of being really bloated about an hour and a half after eating anything. Some people even call this the gas baby. I've seen a couple of videos online where people talk about this being a gas baby. If you feel like that, then you eradicate this step. Don't increase your fiber just yet. If not, then increasing your fiber is the first step for repair and heal. Second step is adding, if you are a non-vegetarian, adding a bone broth. Bone broth works wonders in healing your gut lining because it has both collagen and glutamine. If you are a vegetarian or a vegan, add a glutamine supplement. Glutamine is great for healing your gut. Also add a vegetable or a vegetarian gut healing soup. I have linked the recipe in the caption or the description below. You can just use that recipe. There are also many recipes available online, but adding either bone broth or a gut healing soup and glutamine is important here. Number 3 is your hydration hack, really increasing hydration, specifically starting your day with a large jar of water with a lemon squeezed in it and a pinch of Himalayan salt can be a great start to the day, but also being very conscious about constantly hydrating yourself through the day with pinch of Himalayan salt in the water so that you're also hydrating yourself with water plus electrolytes. Now, another great thing to do is add a zinc methionine supplement. Zinc works wonders in healing the gut lining. This specific form of zinc is a bioavailable form. I mentioned it in the description so you can read exactly what the bioavailable forms of zinc are. Adding that as a supplementation will work great. Another thing that you should add this repair phase or week 2 is intermittent fasting. Starting from a 12-hour fast window to a 16-hour fast window is great because it's going to give your gut that break from digestion or food flowing in to be able to spend time on healing and repairing itself. But keep in mind, if you have any kind of adrenal fatigue, high stress levels, or hormonal imbalances, specifically an autoimmune thyroid imbalance, then do not start intermittent fasting. If you don't, then intermittent fasting can do wonders here. Right? So this becomes your week 2, focusing on repairing and healing your gut lining. All right, moving on to week 3, which is repopulate. Now that we have removed all the triggers, we have worked on repairing our gut lining, now we want to repopulate and strengthen the gut microbiome with the right balance of good bacteria. In week 3, you're going to continue doing everything you were doing in week 1 and in week 2, but now we're going to focus on strengthening the balance. For which, what do? We start introducing both probiotics and prebiotics. Let's talk about probiotics first. Probiotics should come from a good supplement. The rest of this 30-day challenge, you want to use this supplementation. Make sure you select the right probiotic supplementation. Remember that just looking at a large number of strains, or those millions or sort of billions of strains and CFU is not necessarily always good. So higher number doesn't necessarily mean it's better. What you need to focus on is making sure it's a clean label supplement. That means it should not have unnecessary sugars, flavors, binders, fillers, preservatives, because now you're just kind of adding everything that you had eradicated in the week 1. So you want to make sure that it's clean label. You want to make sure it has the right kind of strains of bacteria. And specifically for the Indian gut, I always recommend looking for something that has the strain Saccharomyces boulardii along with other important strains. Right? The reason being that we not only have imbalances in our bacteria in the gut microbiome. The microbiome is made of a lot of other stuff, right? So we also usually have overgrown fungi or overgrown fungus, and Saccharomyces boulardii does wonders in balancing that, right? So that's something that you want to also look for. So clean label, looking at the right strains, looking at this particular strain, Saccharomyces boulardii. These are 3 basic things to remember. Obviously, personally, I recommend the Biohackers company's Probiotic Plus because it kind of caters to all of these. But of course, you choose what works for you. Now, prebiotics. Just adding probiotics without prebiotics is going to do nothing, because prebiotics is basically food for your gut bacteria, right? So the probiotics will feed on prebiotics to then go and repopulate your gut microbiome. Prebiotics should come from things like fermented foods like kimchi, kefir, kombucha. Personally, I make kimchi at home, and this is something I eat every day in general, not just during the gut health, this 30-day reset program. Very easy to make. What I do is take vegetables like cabbage, carrots, shalgam, I don't know what shalgam, radish, and sometimes even beetroot. Just chop them up, put them together with salt. After about an hour and a half, drain out the excess water, add a little bit more salt and water. I leave this for 3 to 7 days, let it ferment. Drain the excess water, put it in the fridge with a couple of herbs and masalas, and this becomes a great homemade kimchi because this is now fermented vegetables. Right, so this is a great source of prebiotics. Along with that, garlic and onions are a great source of prebiotic. So adding your probiotic supplement with the right kind of probiotics and prebiotics in your diet becomes your first step. Second step is increasing your polyphenol intake, which should come from things like berries, specifically blueberries, green tea, even dark chocolate. But of course, it should be unsweetened dark chocolate, right? So make sure it's a good quality dark chocolate, at least 70% and above in cocoa. It should not have a lot of sugar. Ideally, it should be sweetened with a natural source like maybe dates or monk fruit, or worst case scenario stevia, but definitely not the sugary options. And lastly, you want to work on your sleep. Optimizing sleep can go a long way in healing your gut bacteria, your gut microbiome, your gut health in general. Getting your quality 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night becomes important in this repopulation phase or your week 3. Remember, your gut microbiome thrives on regular circadian rhythm. I've said this before, but quality sleep and deep sleep is not just for you, but it's also for your gut microbiome, or this universe that lives inside you. Now, this becomes your week 3. Another great actionable step is to spend about a minute to 3 minutes doing some breathing exercises before you go to bed. Remember, the gut-brain axis, it works both ways. Not just your microbiome impacts your mood and your stress levels and your brain health, but also vice versa. Breathing exercise can play a huge role in calming you down, improving your heart rate variability and your brain health, which means it also works on your gut microbiome. So this is your week 3. All right, let's move on to week 4. Now week 4 is reintroduce. This is where we start reintroducing the foods that you had eradicated in week 1. So essentially continue doing everything you did in week 1. Definitely continue doing everything you did in week 2 and week 3. Having continued all of that, now in week 4, you slowly, one by one, start adding the foods that you had eradicated in week 1. When I say add the foods you had eradicated, I hope you don't want to start adding artificial, sort of sweeteners and sugars and processed foods, but you can of course have it now and then. What we're actually going to start working on adding back is the dairy and the gluten. You want to do this one by one, do this slowly. I hope by now you would be maintaining your gut journal, so you would really know what's triggering or not triggering your gut. Here it'll come into play or come into action. Add one thing at a time, see how it feels. If any of it, and when I'm saying add dairy and gluten, obviously add different forms of it one at a time. Don't overload your system suddenly. But adding any of it, if it causes any kind of gut symptom, it could be something as simple as a little bit of bloating, feeling gassy, maybe acidity, maybe triggering diarrhea or constipation. If any of these symptoms appear after adding this, one of these items, that item is something that you're not able to tolerate well. You're potentially intolerant, maybe even sensitive, right? So now you know what a trigger for your gut is. And this food item or food group should now be eradicated completely. If your body is able to manage and sustain and deal with it well and there are no symptoms at all, then you might, then now in this phase you start reintroducing it back into your diet, right? So week 4 is reintroduction, where we slowly one by one reintroduce what we had eliminated while remaining healthy. And finally week 5, which is regulate or maintain. Now this is where we start transitioning from the challenge to long-term habits for maintaining gut health. Again, in week 5, you're going to continue doing what you did in week 1, week 2, week 3, and of course week 4, whatever you were able to reintroduce continues to remain as part of your diet. But adding a couple of habits which you can sustain will work wonders in maintaining whatever improvement you've done in your gut health during this challenge. Number 1 is eating mindfully. Chewing your food well can go a long way in improving your digestion. It sounds like something small, but it actually is one of the biggest habits that can make or break your gut health. Number 2 is being mindful. We've already spoken about the gut-brain axis and how it's a two-way street. So really working on your stress levels, on your sleep, not just during the challenge, but overall will do wonders in maintaining the gut health. And if you've added the breath work, either continuing or building upon those minutes that you're spending on breath work can be a sustained habit. And eating more variety of fiber-rich food, probiotic heavy or prebiotic heavy foods, which should become a part of your daily diet. Try and sustain this variety that has got added to your diet as much as possible. And now for the action step of the last week or the last step of your challenge is to write down the 3 things you did during this 30-day challenge that made the biggest difference in your gut health. And don't forget to come back here and comment and let me know which were the steps that made the biggest difference for your gut health. Alright, let me also talk about some of the best supplements for gut health. Number 1, of course, is probiotic supplement. Already spoke about it. I shared why I recommend the Biohackers company's Probiotic Plus, or what are the things to look for when you're selecting a good probiotic. The other one is berberine. Berberine is a great supplement for healing your gut health, but also for insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance or insulin sensitivity and gut microbiome and gut health have a connection and they go hand in hand. The third one is magnesium, specifically magnesium glycinate. It's gentle on the stomach. It, other than all of the wonderful things that it does for your health, it also works on not just healing your gut lining, but on improving your digestion and maintaining good digestion. That's it. This was the step-by-step process for the 30-day gut challenge and a couple of supplements that I typically recommend for gut health. This is now your turn to try the 30-day challenge, and don't forget to come and comment and let me know how it worked for you. Oh, by the way, the secret gut health recipe that I had promised, this is a gut health tea, which I make and have almost every night. It's very simple. It's essentially fresh ginger with fresh turmeric, not the haldi powder, but the fresh raw turmeric grated, both ginger and turmeric grated, with about 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of ajwain. I don't know what ajwain is called in English. So, these 4 ingredients combined, boil it in water for about 10 odd minutes, simmer, not like hard, high flame boiling. Then strain it in a cup. Add a pinch of pink salt and half or 1 lemon squeezed in the cup, and drink this. This is essentially bitters and works very, very well on maintaining your stomach's acid levels and your gut health, and of course your gut microbiome. There you go. This is the 30-day gut health challenge. I hope you try this, and I hope it does wonders for you. But also remember that everything I share on these YouTube videos are science-backed, backed by research, but they are generic information. They will be helpful, but if you want to take your health to the next level and really work on personalized bio-individual insights, where I work with your genetic markers and your blood markers to improve your health, heal any imbalances, and work on reducing your biological age, then look at the link in the description for the Longevity Lab. All the details are shared there. You can request for access. It's a closed community because I work with a select few. You can request access, fill in the form, and hopefully we'll work together. Right, now I hope this was helpful. Hope to see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your subscription and your like, and of course your comments, go a long way in not just motivating me and my team in continuing to do this work, which by the way takes a lot of research and a lot of effort for us to put together this comment, but it also helps us get the feedback from you to know what's working, what's not working, and what can we do differently to make better content for you. All right, there you go. Thank you so much, and see you next time.